Nail or beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success Podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. Before we get started, wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business. Hey guys, Penny here from Monaco Nail Academy, and today I'm joined by Mel.
Hi.
And Mikal's back.
Hello.
Crystal's back from a few episodes ago.
Hello.
And today we're going back into The Theory of Nails series. So that is where our course, The Theory of Nails, that covers all of the quote-unquote boring parts of the industry, even though they're kind of fun. We're trying to take each section of that course and do a podcast episode to complement it, taking the boring stuff, having a conversation, and making it a little bit easier to digest for all of us with creative brains that don't like just reading textbooks.
Just a reminder before we get started, you can use my code MAL for 10% off all courses. I do get a kickback from these enrollments, and that's how we support the production of the podcast.
And my code is Michal, Michal.
Crystal, do you have one?
Yep. Mine is Crystal's Nails, spelled CHRISTELNAILS.
And before we get stuck into our theory concept, let's revisit last week. Mikal, you were here. What were we chatting about last week?
Last week we were talking about niching down on a specific service that you offer in your salon. So instead of offering or telling people that you offer all of the services, you really focus your marketing on just one, and this gets you the client that you really want.
Yeah, and we talked about how niching down, quote, quote, isn't just services. It can be vibe and, yeah, lots of other things. So, yeah, go back, listen to that one if you like.
Alrighty, so let's get into talking about our theory topic, which is anatomy and disorders, but we're going to try and do it in a way where we're chatting about our actual real experiences with them, because boring. And obviously this is quite not obvious, but it's a quite visual topic because we see the disorder and then work out how to deal with it. But we'll just chat and see where we go, and chances are we end up on a tangent anyway. So let's start by Mikal and Crystal. What was your concept before training? What did you know? And maybe chuck us a most surprising.
I knew a few of the nail disorders that you can get, mostly through my beauty training. But there was a lot that I didn't know, because obviously beauty training, you're just touching on subjects rather than going in depth.
I didn't know pretty much anything. And I painted nails as a side hustle, side hobby kind of thing. And I was doing it on other people dangerously. And yeah, I thought that onycholysis, which is the separation of your nail plate, that was the sign of a gel allergy, and that's all I knew. So yeah, I learned a lot from this section.
Yeah, it can be quite a big, it's a big section and it can be kind of overwhelming. So hopefully this podcast will make it less kind of overwhelming. But yeah, as a nail tech, you see kind of every kind of nail under the sun. They're never exactly the same. Yeah, people have slammed their fingers in the doors, or, things happen and you will see it all. So this is where the knowledge of the structure, the nail anatomy, the nail tissue, and everything that surrounds it is helpful, right? So then you can determine that, okay, this nail's been squashed in a car door. Other than that, it looks fine. It looks good. There's no issues. It kind of gives you that background knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, I've shut my daughter's fingers in the doors a couple times, and thankfully her nails have still been fine afterwards.
It's real funny now because every time that Josh hurts himself at work and has a bruise on his nail or whatever, he'll be like, "What's this called?" And like, he was real disappointed when we first met. He had a Bose line, and then he was so disappointed when it finally grew out. He's like, "I don't have a Bose line anymore."
I tell my husband that the white spots on his nails are trauma from him picking his nose.
The white spots, clients always ask if they're calcium deposits or calcium deficiency. So who wants to correct us on that one as a straight in there?
You were always told that, eh?
Not enough milk.
I was always told that, but actually it's just like trauma, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might get this wrong, and this would be like look it up in one of Doug Schoon's books kind of thing, but I think it's something like 0.3% of your nail is actually calcium. Like it's not, that's your bones. Nails and hair is keratin, like protein cells, nothing to do with calcium. And yeah, the white spots are the separation of those cells because keratin cells are transparent, but when you squash a bunch of them together real tight, they're no longer going to be completely transparent. The same way as if you tried to look through 100 windows at once, they're not going to be super clear like one singular window is. So if you separate them, you see a difference. And in a nail, that separation from trauma, from smashing your hand in a door or whatever, is going to give you that white color because they're not as transparent. And when we say transparent, you're going to go, no, but it's pink. No, they're transparent, and you can see the capillaries under the nail coming through the nail plate.
It always reminds me of a windshield. Like if a stone hits your windshield and then you've got that little blip, it's like that on your nail plate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually such a good way of thinking about it. I reckon one of the biggest things that was also a misconception, like along the lines of calcium deposits, stuff like that, is the difference between cuticle and eponychium. Like the fact that everyone goes like, oh, but are you going to like push my cuticles back? Say for example, and I'm like, I pushed the cuticle off your nail plate, but no, I am not going to attack your hyponychium because that's not, you haven't booked for advanced cuticle care or whatever. But like, yeah, people thinking that the eponychium, which is, well, the easiest way to explain it is the thing you think is your cuticle, that little line of skin at the base of the nail, that's your eponychium. Cuticle is part of, the easiest way to explain it in a podcast concept. Like, don't come at me in the comments for like, that wasn't 100% factually accurate. You want 100% factually accurate, go do the full theory course where we can elaborate and go into detail. But for the purposes of like accompanying the course or giving an overview to newbies, the true cuticle is layers of skin that come from the eponychium but get stuck to your nail. So like if you scratch your nail and you get the like little bits of skin, or like, yeah, skin it is, come up off your nail, that's cuticle, not the eponychium. And we don't want to be attacking the eponychium. There are services with proper training where you can tidy up the eponychium, but that is not the cuticle.
I always cringe when I see people trimming them in videos. I'm like, oh.
It is scary, eh? But you know, like Penny said, if you've had the proper training, then
Yeah.
you know how to do it safely. But you know, you shouldn't just be like, oh yeah, I'll buy a pair of nippers and chop it off.
Yeah.
No. Yeah,
But people think that that's what they need to do.
they do all over social media.
But it makes it worse. Like, goes back harder, and yeah.
Elaborate on that.
When you trim it and you don't need to, it's like your body's deciding, oh, you're getting extra trauma there, so we're going to thicken it up and make it harder to protect the nail.
Yeah, like it's there to protect you. Like if you think about it, your nail plate, the hard part, the nail, is growing out of a hole in your finger. Like if you don't block that off in some way, imagine all the crap that you touch on a daily basis that could just be going straight into your bloodstream if you didn't have yeah, like these protective methods, the eponychium is there to block that hole basically and protect you from disease and infection and stuff that in caveman eras where we haven't really evolved much from, that would have killed you. Like you wouldn't have been able to survive a small infection. It would have potentially got worse and worse and literally killed you. So, like Crystal said, if you cut that eponychium without proper training of maintaining and caring for it safely, it believes it's under attack. So it just comes back with a vengeance, and now you have more of a problem.
It's the same with nail biters, right? Like they'll pick at it and bite at it, and then it only gets worse, and then it gives them even more skin to like pick and bite at.
Never mind that with nail biters, saliva is an extremely efficient, naturally occurring dehydrator, even though you think it's wet. But
Yeah.
actually, it dehydrates, and dehydrating skin that is not supposed to be dehydrated is still an attack as far as the eponychium is concerned.
People also get the eponychium confused with the hyponychium, eh?
And the eponychium confused with the quick. Because, like, you get the little bits of hard skin growing up the sides of your nails, and I will get clients regularly refer to those as quicks.
Oh,
Is it? I swear, it's like regularly. Like Mel, have you heard people? What do people call that when they've come to you?
most people will call it like a hangnail or
Hangnail as well, for sure. But
yeah.
I've had multiple people be like, "Are you going to cut the quicks?" And
Oh,
I'm like, "You've obviously never had a dog because
no.
the quick is the hyponychium, and the hyponychium is." So the way I try and explain the hyponychium to newbies is that if something goes under your nail and hurts, it hurt the hyponychium. It's that bit of skin that is the edge of where the nail plate is joining the nail bed, joining your finger. So like the reason I reference a dog is because if you've ever cut a dog's toenails, what you're trying to do is avoid the quick. And
Yep.
that's the part of skin that is in their nail that is going to hurt if you cut it. And it's it is the hyponychium. It's the same thing that for us, if we were to cut too far, and it'd be a bit different with human anatomy because you most of the time also cut the finger. But like, it's the hyponychium, the part where the nail plate is joining blood is the hyponychium. So we've got eponychium and hyponychium, and I want to move into disorders in a second because that's a bit more interesting. But I think there's a lot of fun stuff around the matrix. So who wants to give me a rundown on what the matrix is, where it is, what it's doing?
So the matrix is hidden underneath the proximal fold, which is the where your eponychium. Oh my goodness, I can't say that word. Eponychium, and it's where plate grows from. It basically it's like the little computer that prints out your nails. It holds all the information on how it grows, how wide it's going to be, and if you damage it, it's basically permanent damage, and yeah, you're not going to be able to fix whatever damage you've caused.
The little computer is such a good way of explaining it because I always say it's a stencil that tells your nails how to grow, but that's like me just showing my analog age and actually saying it's a computer that like holds the information and prints out a nail. That's so accurate in layman's terms.
Yeah, the old school ones that go "Do-do-do-do-do-do-do," and go across, and then it misses one, and then you get the line because it's missed the little.
Yeah. And yeah, like Crystal said, the matrix is really shit at repairing itself. So if you damage the matrix, chances are you're going to see that damage as a scar on your nail. And for us, that generally looks like a ridge. So all of you with ridgy nails, they're just matrix scars, really. But they can be quite severe. And I have a client this afternoon that I'm excited about because she put in her booking She booked for an express pedicure with a nail repair, and her booking notes say left foot big toe toenail is split and added the nail repair part for you to review. Multiple others have tried to fix, no luck. Keen to have your expert opinion on steps I can take to get this on the mend. I'm so excited. This is a person I've never done their toes before. I've done her fingers a couple of times. But so I I just think it's exciting because I like the problem solving and I like I don't know, like giving people solutions, like solving the puzzle kind of thing. But I suspect that when she's talking about the split and she's saying that multiple people have tried to help her with it, I'm assuming multiple nail techs, I'm going to assume that that's a matrix split. Like when a ridge or like damage to the matrix is so severe that the ridge is either always discolored when it grows out or really thick, or in some cases, when a ridge hits the free edge, it splits open. That is just severe matrix damage. And I have had two different clients where one was a fingernail and one was a toenail, where the nail plate grew in two halves permanently because of the damage to the matrix. Like it no longer was all one nail that grew. In the case of the toenail, it was literally just two halves. There was never ever like in the visible nail plate, there was no join. The fingernail, it would split over time. And if she didn't care for her nails, didn't use cuticle oil, all of that stuff, the split would go painfully low, like 3/4 of the way down the nail with onycholitis either side. But if we kept them manicured and she used cuticle oil like 3 times a day, it wouldn't split. Like we could get a short natural nail where it was holding its own and not actually splitting. But the second she stopped using cuticle oil and manicuring, it would start splitting again. So I'm really curious whether this client today is going to turn up and I'm going to be like, well, the reason they couldn't fix it is because that shit's permanent.
Yeah, I wonder how she'll feel. I wonder if she'll be like, no, another one that couldn't fix it, or if she'll understand, like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I've had a client who had one, who's had a nail. When it gets to the free edge, it splits, and she's got the ridge there. Doesn't cause her problems, but we just have to add a bit of correction gel whenever we do a nail. So
it's pretty common, like the number of people. I'm hoping that this client will. It sounds like if people have tried to fix it or give her solutions, maybe they didn't have the same training that we did and didn't understand what it was. So I'm hoping that if that is the situation and I'm like, it can't be fixed, our best bet is like maintenance. Hopefully, because I'm not going to be like, oh, you just fix it by doing this bullshit thing that's not going to work, that she'll be okay because that's trustworthy. Maybe, hopefully.
I had a client come to me recently and she's got a split in her nail, and like she's been to the doctor and the doctor just told her to take extra vitamins.
He didn't blame it on her period?
No.
When you said she's been to the doctor, for some reason that put like, is it a kid's song? Like she went to the doctor and the doctor said.
Yeah, Miss Polly had a dolly who was sick.
There were, I don't know what part of my brain that was living in dormantly, but the second you said she went to the doctor, my brain went, and the doctor said, hey team, Penny from the future here, interrupting to tell you about something super cool. If you're an aspiring nail tech ready to take the first step towards your dream career, our free 5-day Nail Tech Launchpad is here to help you decide if this is the right path for you. 5 videos over 5 days, giving you a taste of what it's like to be a nail technician, an overview of the basics, and insight into whether this career fits your lifestyle and budget. It's totally free, can be done in your own time with less than a 2-hour total commitment, and it starts on Monday. Sign up today and start your journey to becoming a nail tech at www.monaco.ac.nz/launchpad. Okay. Since Mel promised me, Cal, she'd get quizzed.
No, she promised me I wouldn't.
Mikael, what's the true color of the nail plate when it's not attached to the nail bed? Pink, white, blue, or clear?
Pink.
Oi.
Oh, the plate. Yeah, that's clear. You can take my trophy.
Send it back in the mail.
Crystal, what part of the nail is often referred to as the cuticle?
That would be the proximal nail fold, or you're just making me say that again. Eponychium.
Okay, the hyponychium's at the fridge, the tip of the finger. The eponychium is at the base where the cuticle is. Mel, what's on either side when she comes back?
Either side is the lateral folds.
And what is the role of the lateral nail folds?
Their protection, just like your eponychium.
All right, I'll go 2 more quiz questions and then we're going to go into some more interesting disordery stuff. This is fun one that we have not covered in this chit chat, but it is in theory. What determines the thickness of a person's natural nail? Free for all.
The length of the matrix.
Can you elaborate on how that works?
I just know all the other answers are wrong.
Mikael's looking at multiple choice on the screen that we can see. So the multiple choices saying, is it the length of the matrix, the shape of the lunula, the visibility of the cuticle, or the type of nail file used? The length of the matrix is indeed the correct answer of what determines the thickness of a natural nail, but I don't know how to explain it without using my hands, and this is not a visual medium. But the length of the matrix, basically, as cells come through the matrix, they push up and stand on end. So, like, imagine something lying down, moving along a protractor to the point of standing up. The length when lying down is going to become the thickness when standing up and then grow out of the nail. I wish I had visuals to show people, but
it's like that evolution scale where they've got the monkey's like on all of its fours and then it slowly stands up into a human.
That is exactly it. We've got monkeys growing out of our fingers.
What I see in my brain, what you're trying to explain, Penny, is like the tectonic plates, when they crash and they slowly like meh and join.
Doug Schoen would be like, guys, come on. But we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure people can see it when there's like a earthquake and the 2 bits of land join and then go into a peak. That's what it looks like.
First, I get it.
I got it. Yep.
Everyone will understand one of our descriptions. It's fine.
and a significant percentage are just going to be like, because I said so.
Yeah.
Okay, so talking about disorders, because I think that when people first start this, either you've got students in one camp who are like, I don't need to know this stuff. When am I ever going to see it? And then you've got students in another camp that are like, oh my God, I'm going to die of a bloodborne disease. Don't you think like, okay, what were you guys in one of those camps when you first started, or were you somewhere in the middle and I'm wrong?
I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I didn't think I was going to die of a bloodborne disease. But I did worry about dealing with nail disorders, so
I was just thankful I hadn't killed anybody previously.
And I don't think I was worried. I was kind of like, if they've got issues, I just won't do their nails. Like, I just thought it wasn't a thing until I started nails and realized that a lot of people have issues.
My original training included absolutely no disorders stuff. My kit included a textbook, and we were just given that textbook, which I never looked at. That's not how I learn. Like, I'm a creative person going to a course to learn how to do a creative thing, but our industry is such a little baby industry, even though I trained 18 years ago and there were nail techs well before that in New Zealand. The depth of training was not common or available Sit your long ass nails down.
Is that Michael Flatley?
Nah, it's actually Rudd's today because
Oh.
Michael Flatley has had his nails cut and Rutherford will not let me. He screams as if I'm cutting him off at the knuckle every time. So he has to wait for the groomer. And his hyponychiums are out of control.
I was so confused.
Michael Flatley is my dog Bo, and Josh refers to him as Michael Flatley because Michael Flatley was a very famous Irish dancing celebrity when us old folks were young. And it was like tip-tappy dancing. And anytime I send Josh a voice note, you can hear Bo in the background, tap, 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 tap.
Oh, yeah.
To the point now that when Josh sees Bo, he'll be like, come on, Michael. So what was I saying? Crystal didn't think she was going to die. Mikael was a YouTube qualified nail tech. I didn't have any training, so I wasn't scared of shit. I literally, the first time I ever caused greenies because I wasn't told what it was and to look for it, I just literally, and like, I didn't know any better. I just bluffed and was like, oh no, that's just staining from the polish. And then like when I eventually learned what it was, I was like, oh shit. Like, lucky that didn't end up so much worse. And I mean, like, I know specific, I can't remember her name, but like I remember the specific client. It's not like it was rampant on everybody that I did nails for or anything like that, but just yeah. I remember seeing the staining and I remember bluffing because I was like, I don't know what that is. And I still have the textbook. It's sitting in a cupboard that I can see from where I'm sitting, and I've still never read it.
I would love that textbook.
I should go actually look at it. What's the bit half of it's wrong though, just with how quickly our industry evolves?
Mm-hmm.
Doug Schoon's got a new book coming out specifically on the chemistry side of doing nails, and I'm so excited.
Geek.
Takes one to know one. Okay, so in terms of when someone walking in is actually a big concern, just to like blatantly chuck a blanket over the whole thing, the main things we're looking for when we say a flat no, there are definitely things like greenies and fungus and stuff that we're going to try and recognize the signs of and be like, no thanks, that's contagious. No thanks, that's contagious. But the three biggest things we're looking for are pain, pus, and inflammation, affectionately referred to as PPI. And pus can cover all bodily fluids. But yeah, if someone walks in and a nail has PPI, pain, pus, or inflammation / other bodily fluids, we are not touching that nail, potentially not that client, until they can return without PPI.
I think like a most common one, kind of skipping ahead here, is that coelonychia, when the people have those little bits of skin on the side that we were talking about, and they bite it and pull it, and then it turns all swollen and pussy. And I remember when
You mean paronychia?
Oh, paronychia, yeah. I remember when I first sort of started clients, a lady had that on one of her nails, and she was just like, "Oh, it's a bit sore," and I was like, "Oh, it's fine. Like I won't touch it. It's okay." And now looking back at the photo, I'm like, that was so obviously that. But I, like I said, I just didn't know any better then because I was a YouTube tech and I just didn't care about that.
Yep, 100%. I had someone like 6 weeks ago. I might have actually talked about her on a previous episode. I can't remember if it was on an episode or with someone else, but I had this client who had come to me for the very first time. Actually, she brought her teenage granddaughter in the holidays, and then she sat with her the whole time and was super impressed and booked for herself. But then she had all these people in her ear saying that like gel ruins your nails or whatever. So she specifically kept her nails on for like, I think it was over 6 weeks, like crazy long, like they were half growing out. But she was trying to prove a point. She's the loveliest lady, but like she cares so much what other people think, and she's always worried about it. Like even just seeing her once every 6 weeks for her nails, you can pick up on the fact that her overriding personality trait is being scared of what other people think. But so she literally grew her nails out that whole time so she could prove that her nails were healthy by showing her friends the regrowth. Except what happened is what initiated her rebooking is because they got so long and free edge heavy that then the second she caught one in like making the bed or whatever, she ripped her nail off well below the hyponychium. Her like natural nail snapped it, and then turns up and is like, "Oh, I've broken this one, but you can probably repair it. You're so clever." Like literally said that, pulls the band-aid off, and it is in that jelly state.
Oh.
I was like, "No, ma'am, I'm not touching that. I'll do all the other ones." And as soon I explained PPI to her, and I was like, "As soon as there is no PPI, book in for a nail repair, and I will do that nail and make it look the same. But no way, no how am I touching that today."
And what was her reaction?
She was good about it. Like I put the color and the glitter off to the side and left it like on a separate shelf so that I could do the repair and not have to like write it down or whatever. But she didn't come back. I mean, she came back last week for her next appointment, but she never came and got the repair. She kind of just lived with it as it was. She was pretty chill about it, but yeah, like I mean, she definitely wanted me to just chuck an extension on it and make it look like all the others. And can you imagine putting like cleanser anywhere near it? Like, no, thank you.
But they'll try and tell you, hey, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Just do it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I can handle it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, can you handle the extremely unlikely but still potential infection that goes into your bloodstream and causes you to lose a limb?
Yeah.
No,
And then
thank you.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I think now's a good time to pop in and say as well that like we are not able to diagnose what is wrong. So like before when Mel said she spotted paronychia and looking at the photos, it's clearly paronychia. Over time and experience, you can look at something and be like, that is clearly fungus. That is clearly like Pseudomonas greenies. That's clearly paronychia. But we're never going to say to a client, oh, you've got a fungal infection. This is the treatment. We're going to say, I see evidence of something that doesn't look right, or I see evidence of something I'd like you to see the dermatologist about, or this doesn't sit well with me. I think I'd be happier if you went to the pharmacist first. Like, however you want to phrase it, you're just going to tell them you see something that is an indicator that something else is going on and get someone qualified medically to actually determine what is going on, because it can include testing and stuff as well, and then give them a proper treatment. So yeah, we don't diagnose or prescribe. Cut that out, actually. Yeah, we don't diagnose or prescribe. We're just trained to recognize signs for things that should be referred.
I had someone come to me for a pedicure, and their toenails were like super thick. Like it looked like there was extra growth or something. And I like just like asked leading questions almost, being like, oh, does this hurt? Or like, have you been to see the doctor about this? Like, toes aren't supposed to grow this thick kind of thing. Yeah, because then like I had to cut them shorter and like it flung in my eye, but
Glasses are good.
yeah.
That hurts my soul.
My mum's toenails, she's got psoriasis and it affects her nails and her toenails. So her toenails grow thicker, and like I know it's not contagious, so I'm happy to do her nails.
Yeah.
But every time I go to trim them, I'm like, I don't want to hurt you. Because yeah, it's just I'm so paranoid about cutting it too short that it's going to hurt her, but then it's also really thick and hard to trim as well. So.
With psoriasis, does she have nail pitting?
No, but she does quite often get onycholiasis on her fingers.
Well, that could have been a great segue, but it's not, because nail pitting's literally, it does not matter the order that we talk about these, but I like nail pitting is the first disorder in theory. And as soon as you said psoriasis, I was like, ooh, because that's when I've come across nail pitting the most often, which for those who haven't come across it is like little pinpricks little indentation dots that are really small all over the nail. But
Like a golf ball.
yeah, kind of like a golf ball. And I think it's one of the more common things. I don't know, Mel, you've done nails for ages. Like, would you say nail pitting's reasonably common?
I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, like a few, like not like
Yeah,
all the time.
a couple, but yeah, like some of them I've never seen.
Yeah, same. And
Yeah,
that's like nearly 2 decades in.
yeah, and then the others like paronychia and yeah, the most common, but they're
Yeah.
different. Yeah,
When I've seen nail pitting, it's always been because of psoriasis.
I've seen it with people that have eczema too.
True, yes. I forgot about that.
I'm going to be double checking her nails next time I see her now.
Like a report back. Like it's usually nail pitting is just also not always, but like yeah, correlated to a different skin condition like psoriasis or eczema. Um, it can relate to certain types of arthritis or autoimmune conditions, but like nail pitting's not like as long as the client understands why it's happening, like you don't have to be concerned with why it's happening. Like if I saw nail pitting, then all I would say is like, hey, just letting you know that this is something called nail pitting. It's not a big deal, but like it's usually related to like skin conditions and stuff. Just letting you know so that if that's not something you're already aware of, you can get it checked out if you feel like you need to.
It's also a good way to like flex your knowledge a little bit. Be like, yeah, I do know what I'm looking at.
Mm.
Yes.
yeah, for
But you
sure.
can still do their nails, like as long
Yeah.
as they don't need them naked to go get it checked out. Or like, yeah, as long as they don't need their nails naked for that purpose. You're not damaging their nails by doing them if they have nail pitting. It's not contagious. Like there's no reason that you can't do their nails unless they need them naked for diagnosis.
But then sometimes, right, if they have nail pitting, sometimes they might have another issue. So you kind of need to go, okay, sometimes if they have nail pitting, sometimes they'll have onycholysis as well. And you can tie it all in. And
Onycholysis is for sure the one that I've seen the most with like concurrent with nail pitting. But like onycholysis, for those of you who haven't seen pictures, is like Mikhail said earlier, the nail plate separating, I think it was Mikhail, the nail plate separating from the nail bed underneath. So you're getting like an uneven smile line or like even deep separation where the nail plate looks like it's coming off. That
yeah,
can be caused by lots of things.
yeah, it kind of looks like instead of the nail being like pink, it kind of can look like cloudy white or yeah. So like Penny was talking about earlier with the white spots, what you're seeing then is that the nail plate is not attached to the pink tissue anymore. So now you're seeing the clear, cloudy nail plate. So that tells you that it's not connected to the pink tissue. So yeah, and there's potential, for moisture to get in there and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely one to look out for.
And it can be related to the same skin issues that would cause pitting, but it can also be caused by like fungal infections and stuff. So if in doubt at all, always refer it on. But like once you've studied properly and passed your assessments and like have some experience, you'd never look at onycholysis and immediately be like, this could be fungus. Like because you can have it with absolutely no indicators of a fungal infection. But yeah,
Yeah.
it can be trauma, it can be an infection, it can be a skin condition. Like so many different things can interfere with the nail plate staying adhered to the nail bed.
Yeah, and quite often you'll find your client will go, "Oh my gosh, like I caught my finger while I was closing the drawer or whatever," and they'll sort of tell you before you even do a removal, and you'll go, "Oh yeah, I can see it there. There's a little bit of a bit of trauma there." So then that sort of was like, okay, well we know what happened, you know why this has happened. So then,
I
yeah,
feel like onycholysis is one of the more common ones that I've seen like 1,000 times.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially with like farmers and like people with really physical jobs, they'll quite often have it. And yeah, if it's small and you know why, all good. But if it's got to the point where it's like way down the nail, then yeah, you definitely want to take steps to, just look after it for them. You'd want to keep their nails short, tell them to avoid water, wear gloves and all that, good stuff. But yeah, it's not a huge sort of deal breaker, that one.
I've had it when I've had dermatitis, and that dermatitis was caused by an allergy to nail products. So that ties in with what, again, I'm pretty sure it was Mikael said before, that your only thing you knew was that you thought onycholitis was a gel allergy.
Yeah. I think like also there's a difference like when you see this like from someone that's coming to you for a first time or someone that's like a regular client, like you might have different questions from it because if you're seeing it for the first time from someone that's new, like you have no idea like what their background is or like what's happened with their nails. Whereas someone that sees you regularly every 3 weeks, like you've already built that relationship, you kind of know what they're doing with their hands, like in the day to day. It might be a different way of like managing it.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what their nails usually look like. So then if you suddenly see it, you're like, what's happened here? But if they're new, then yeah, they could have had it for months and months and months, and whoever's doing their nail just doesn't know or whatever. Yeah, you just don't know. So it's definitely a different conversation.
And as long as you know what the cause was and that the cause isn't actively contagious. So like if the cause was a gel allergy like mine, well, it's not actively contagious because you can't catch that. If it was a fungal infection, okay, cool. Have they been cleared with a medical certificate to say that the fungal infection is gone? But as long as you know that the cause of the onycholitis has been resolved, you can still do the nails, but you do need to keep them as short as possible and be so careful working on that nail. I would never put extension on it. I would never put, like, I personally, I wouldn't even put like builder gel or builder in a bottle on it. I would just be going for either, like, say if it's on one nail, I'd even be talking to them about buying a normal nail polish that matches their gel color and just painting that one with normal nail polish so that it matches, and then they take the color home so that they can top it up throughout the like 3 weeks that their gel manicure is going to last, just so that there's no extra pressure on the nail. But if it's short, like, and like I said, the cause is resolved, you can put gel polish on it. But if the cause, for example, was an allergy and then you're going to put gel polish on it, how's that gel polish coming off? With a soak off. Well, that's going to exacerbate the allergy potentially, probably. So then again, you're having to revisit and make a decision about whether or not that is the best decision for that case by case. Onycholitis is a funny one because, yeah, it's very common, but its causes are so varied.
That photo that you have on the screen where it's like almost all the way down the nail, I'm like, I don't see how people would let it get to that point.
Well, my mum's can get like that quite a bit. Usually not all the nail, but like it'll dip down on like a side, and it's really painful.
I think it depends on what the cause is, right? Because
Yeah.
if the cause is something you can fix, you can stop it. But if the cause is something that you don't have control over or you have limited control over, like psoriasis, in some cases, you can't stop it.
True.
Hey guys, Future Penny here again. Just a super quick interruption to let you know that if you head to monaco.ac.nz/subscribe, not only can you sign up to our weekly newsletter, but you'll also get a free video lesson from our course, The Art of Pigments. That's monaco.ac.nz/subscribe. Let's talk about Boselines partially because that's my dog's name, but also Boselines are probably my favorite disorder if that was a thing.
You should see my big toe.
Well, okay, but so a Boseline is a horizontal indentation on your nail. And the reason that I think they're so fun is because they're caused by they can be caused by a few things, but a Boseline is caused when the nail matrix temporarily stops producing cells. And I just think it's really fun because if you see a Boseline, you can like, it's kind of like how they say that psychics are actually just reading body language and stuff. Like you can say to someone like, oh, you wouldn't, this isn't professional. But like you can say to someone like, oh, did you have a fever a month ago? And be right. Like with Josh's Boseline was trauma because he dropped something on his, well, he probably hit it with a hammer knowing him. But like, so if you hit your finger with a hammer, that it can shock the matrix so that like it stops producing cells for a short period of time, like 24 hours sort of thing. And when it starts up again, it's almost like a judder start. So you get this horizontal line. But it can also happen when like you have a really high fever because your body takes all of its energy and puts it into bringing your fever down, and that energy is not needed for your nail for that short period of time. So the nail stops so that it can solve the fever. And then you also see it in people that are getting chemo. And so obviously if you hit your hand with a hammer, it's going to happen to that one nail. But if you had a fever, it's going to happen to more likely all of your nails. And with something like chemo, that's fucking up your body on a repeating cycle. So sometimes you can see someone who's gone through cancer treatment having several sets of Boselines. And I just think it's so interesting that you can like, yeah, tell so much information from this little line.
I think my one that I have, interestingly, is because I have a bunion that's causing a lot of pain on that toe. And the matrix like has periods of time where it like is sore and inflamed, and then it relaxes, and then it does the thing again. And like I get these lines every couple of months.
See, isn't that so fun?
Yeah, but it's painful.
But we can treat a client with a Boseline again as long as the underlying condition is resolved and you don't need the nail naked for like diagnosis by a professional or anything like that. You can still do that nail. It's fine. It's just going to grow out. It's not, in most cases, it's totally fine. What other ones have you guys come across in real life?
Well, I gave myself Pseudomonas on one of my nails because my extension lifted and it took me about 2 weeks to actually fix it. And as soon as I took it off, I was like, shit.
For the newbies, do you want to tell us what Pseudomonas is?
So it's often referred to as a greenie because, well, obviously it's going to look greeny, sort of yellow, and really bad can be black. It's on the nail, well, and in the nail because you can't just buff it out. So mine was sort of about a quarter of the way down the nail, so it was near the end. So thankfully I just left the extension on and let it grow out. Yeah, it's an infection. So obviously you're not going to want to do a service on it.
And it's bacterial, not fungal.
Bacterial, yep. And yeah, the darker the stain, the deeper it's gotten into the nail.
Yeah, so like if you hadn't left yours 2 weeks, you might have been able to buff it. I would have been throwing that buffer out, but you might have been able to buff the stain off if it was super shallow.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about greenies though is like that in layman's terms, it's kind of bacteria poop. Like it's not, but like it is the byproduct of the infection, and the infection, like it's caused by iron compounds released during bacterial growth, which you can totally twist to be bacteria poop.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night too, weren't we, Mikhail? And yeah.
This is my life at the moment.
Yeah.
You guys should have just recorded the whole lesson. We could do a free podcast episode out of it.
This this was like the end of the lesson. It was just Mikkel and I. Everyone had finished and done their thing. Mikkel and I both have like science backgrounds, so we were talking about this sort of stuff. And I was telling her how whenever we used to test custard squares, they always had fecal coliforms in them. And I now call them poop squares. So whenever I see someone eating a custard square, and my husband loves them, I'm like, is that a good poop square? Like, is that yum?
That's so upsetting because I love them too.
Yeah, I know.
He's
Yeah.
like, I don't care. It tastes good. I'm like, yeah, all right.
With Pseudomonas greenies, going back to them for a second, the main thing is that like it's always going to be caused by having given the bacteria the like ideal environment. So like when Crystal was saying that her nail had lifted slightly, that's usually going to be the most common scenario is you've had acrylics or enhancements or extensions, whatever, on, they've lifted, the client hasn't come back fast enough, or you as the nail tech haven't removed the lifting properly. Some moisture gets trapped under there, and now you've got warmth from body heat and moisture that isn't evaporating, and the bacteria is like, hey, yo, party time. And then it's going to release iron compounds, which causes the stain. But the stain is just evidence that you had all these bacteria just living and thriving in this warm, moist environment.
I love how you just said moist then.
I did it just for people like you.
Oh, it doesn't bother me. It's just thinking of the people that it does bother. They're going to go like,
Yeah, I did it for them. But so the thing with like greenies is you don't have to be scared of them. You just have to prevent them. Like disinfect your shit properly.
Yep.
Fix your lifting. Work on your application to avoid lifting. Educate your clients so that they're coming back in a timely manner and not after 6 weeks because they think they're proving something.
And
then
wearing gloves.
yes.
Like when you're doing the dishes or you're gardening, like anything where that kind of bacteria grows.
Yeah, less chance for it to be there in the first place.
Yeah.
It's definitely a prevention, not cure kind of thing.
Another one that you'll definitely see in your nail tech life, either on yourself or clients, but it's another pretty common one.
Yeah, like even if it's not from like it could be someone coming to you who's been to another nail tech. But like how Crystal said she chose to keep her extension on, that's fine. That's her nail. She's a nail tech. She does whatever the fuck she wants. But if this was a client that walks in, you're going to take the product off and you're going to leave it naked.
Oh, I did leave it naked once I discovered it.
Yeah. It's definitely comes down to education as well. Like I remember a client coming in from somewhere else. We did a removal and she had greenies on literally every nail except one.
Wow.
And she was like upset when I told her I wouldn't do her nails. She was like, but why? The other people did.
Would you put traditional polish over it?
I wouldn't. Well, unless they brought it and then they can do it, but I'm not doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they paid for the traditional polish and we're taking it home, I'll paint it for them. But I'm wearing gloves and I'm not using any of my shit on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Like when clients like that say like, "Oh, but everybody else did." Well, yeah, where'd that get you?
But it's just the education thing, you know, like we were saying last episode, you can flex your knowledge. Flex your knowledge.
I feel like Pseudomonas goes a little bit hand in hand with onychomycosis or nail fungus. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I feel like, I don't know, for some reason in my head, they're in the same category. So we may as well talk about fungus as well. How often have you guys come across that in real life?
Haven't yet.
Nah, me either.
Toes.
This would have caused those thick, crunchy as toenails.
You reckon? Oh, gross.
No, you're going to be like, I want to wash out my eye.
Yeah.
And it's like yellow looking, Mikhail, and kind of like crumbly.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I thought it was just like her hyperdichum was like super thick.
I mean, this is why we don't diagnose, but it is definitely a sign of a fungal infection having been
Ooh.
present.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like blocking my ears because I hate feet. Saying like crumbly, I was like, ew.
I think like fungal stuff is less common to come across in the salon because more people are like, something's not right, therefore they're not going to the salon. Like, especially because it's more common on toes and people are already so self-conscious of their feet. Like, I get clients say semi-regularly, like, oh, I feel bad that you're doing my feet, or this must be the worst part of your job, or like comments like that. And I'm always like, honestly, there are 3 people in nearly 18 years that I can actually immediately recall had feet worth talking about. And none of them were because they were actually disgusting or stunk. Like, the whole feet smell thing is, I mean, it happens, but honestly, it's a perpetuated thing that starts in children's books and goes to the rest of TV. And by the time, like, it's in cartoons and picture books. And so you think people's feet smell. But if you think about the difference between then adult fiction and like adult TV shows, no one's talking about smelly feet. It's a funny thing that kids like. And then we all think that feet smell. But actually, for most people, it can be a certain pair of shoes or like something like that. But for someone to actually have chronic foot odor is pretty rare. And if they do, they're not coming to get their toes done because they're embarrassed.
They're already aware, or if they are, they're intentionally like leaving time to go and have a shower or wash out their feet or whatever. Just like when you book for a wax, you don't go to the gym and then go get your vagine wax. Go home,
Yeah.
have a shower, and then you go.
Like the 3 people that I can actually remember, like off the top of my head, are an elderly lady whose pinky toe was fused by arthritis so tightly that the tip of the pinky toe touched what would be her pointer toe.
Oh my goodness.
Like that was just something I hadn't seen before. I had an elderly client who couldn't cut her own toenails and no one had helped her. So by the time she got to me, they curled all the way around the tips of her toes and touched the floor. And then I had a primary school teacher who always came to me on her recurring appointment, was the same day that she had lunchtime duty. And she always had bark dust on her feet because she wore sandals. And every time I sprayed sanitizer, it turned into mud. But that was back when I was a brand new newbie and I didn't have hot towels or like anything like that. Now that wouldn't be a problem. But at the time, I was spray sanitizer and then straight into a service. Like I'd been doing nails for like months, not years. And so I always remember that she couldn't see because her feet were under the table. She wouldn't have been aware that that was a thing that was happening. And I just always had to navigate muddy feet. And those are the only 3 feet that actually like stick in my brain at all.
Yeah. And none of them are like, ooh, they were gross, or ooh, they were smelly, or ooh, they did this. Like it's just
Exactly. But like I do come across fungus occasionally, and I have come across it on fingers, just a lot less common. But if you are like, sometimes you can get it looks white. So sometimes newbies especially will panic seeing trauma spots or calcium deposits, if you want to call them that, even though that's not what they are. But that is very rarely fungal. Obviously, we don't diagnose, but fungus most commonly starts close to the free edge. So if you've got something in the middle of the nail plate, less likely to be fungal, more likely to be trauma. And also, it usually has kind of like wispy or spidery edges, not like sometimes trauma spots are more like have an outline to them kind of thing. What else, Mel?
Can it be confused with onycholysis?
I mean, I guess. Well, because onycholysis could be caused by fungal infection, so you could have them occurring at the same time. And I can imagine a scenario where newbie tech might write something off as just onycholysis when it was actually fungal if they weren't paying attention, I guess. But
Yeah.
onycholysis usually has a pretty strong outline most of the time. Like the outline of a fungal infection commonly isn't that like border of color differentiation.
Yeah, it's more like
Yeah.
fuzzy looking. And you'll know this, Mikhail, from our science backgrounds. You know, if you think of like a fungus, it's like fuzzy and furry, and
Yeah.
where like onycholysis is, yeah, it's like a smooth line. You can clearly see it. But yeah, I think the biggest indicator that I've seen for the nail fungus was like the thickness and the kind of like crumbly texture. You can really see like the layers of the thickness of it. And when you clip it, yeah, it's not like a nail that flings off. It's like crumbly and flaky kind of.
It's so gross.
Yeah.
Which, not to shame anyone with it, like I had a fungal infection in a toenail when I was a teenager. It's pretty common.
So
It's
common.
also gross.
Yeah, I had one not long ago because I was a lazy ass and didn't cut my toenails properly. And then going to the gym, it was like just pushing on my shoes all the time. And it started from the corner. And yeah, I was like, uh-oh.
Another like indicator, if you have less experience and you're not 100% sure, when you're sanitizing someone's feet specifically, as you sanitize, sort of separate their toes and sanitize in between. And as you're doing that, look for like blistering or red spots, like that would indicate athlete's foot, because it's the same infection. So if there's athlete's foot present on the skin, chances are the thing you think might be fungal is probably fungal.
Yeah.
You can kind of smell it too. It smells kind of like moisty and like yeasty almost. Like if you've got a dog and they've ever had a ear infection, you can smell it because yeah, it's got that like sweet kind of yeasty smell.
Yeah. And in case you hadn't put two and two together, we don't freaking touch it.
Yeah.
No.
It's so easy to spread. And not only like, it's not just a case of like, oh, well, I'll just throw away these files after I finish this client, because you can be spreading the infection from nail to nail or to the skin if it wasn't there before, or from the skin to the nails, like on one client. And then also to yourself if you're not careful, or like brushing out the debris from the file if you were to disinfect it and put it back in like a client pack. Like, just it's just not worth the risk. Like, any signs of a fungal infection, you're just going to say, hey, I am not in a position or qualified to like diagnose anything, but this discoloration is a bit of a warning sign. I would like you to go and see a dermatologist or the pharmacist or whoever you want to refer, but you're not doing that client. And it is awkward to tell them no. Like Mel was saying before, like, how do you explain it to someone? It's awkward, but it's not worth risking everything else that you're risking to not do it.
If it's a new client, you could always get them to send you a photo in advance of like what you're working with. I feel like that's almost easier to be like, oh no, sorry, like you should do this first, and like turn them away when they haven't arrived, than once they finally get here.
Yeah, I would do that, Mikhail, if they sort of if it gave me reason to think there might be an issue like in the conversation,
Yeah.
then maybe I would initiate and be like, oh, just send me a photo, let's have a look. But
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, in theory, that's a good idea. And I wouldn't shit on anyone who did do that in their salon. But even though I've seen it many times, it's not like I'm seeing it weekly or monthly or like any countable like recurrence where it would be worth getting everyone else to take and upload a photo.
of their feet.
Just and also chances are the person who actually does have an infection doesn't take a photo of that hand or gets the wrong angle, or like you can't see the thing you're looking for anyway. Like, I don't think there's any such thing as too careful. And if that's your like almost your niche kind of thing, is like extreme like careful hygiene practices, I can see a place for that as a standard practice in a salon, but I personally don't think it's common enough to warrant putting that admin on a client who's just trying to make a booking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not super common, and it's definitely one like once they've gone and seen the professionals, it's not too hard to remedy and fix going forward. Like it's not a big drama.
Yeah, it's pretty I guess it depends. I've had um like there's topical treatments, but then also there's some people I've heard of taking like a pill once a month or some kind of weird not weird, but like you took a pill every week for a month and then had a month off, or like some kind of structure I hadn't heard of for anything else. Although with that specific client, I did feel quite good about myself because she was a regular for me for fingers and toes, then went and got her toes done in the city on the way on holiday when she hadn't been able to book with me, got an infection, and then couldn't have her toes done with me until it got cleared by the doctor and she'd finished her course of treatment and stuff. And there's the one time I didn't do them.
I bet she'll never go anywhere else.
Yeah.
She hasn't so far.
And if she does, she'll be like, "Is that clean? What is that?"
Yeah. Penny from the future here, reminding you to sign up for our free 5-day nail tech launchpad. It's the perfect, no pressure way to dip your toes in and see if nail tech life is right for you. monaco.ac.nz/launchpad. There's a couple of other like quick fire ones that I would say are pretty rare. So like Terry's nails is something that we train people to look for, but only as an indicator to refer clients to get things checked. And all Terry's nails is like where there's like an extra pinkness or even almost redness right behind the free edge, like where the hyponychium is. It's like a line of red, almost like a French manicure behind the French tip kind of thing. I don't know if I'm explaining it well, but like a line of dark pink or red. And it can literally just be from aging, but it can sometimes be from other issues. So it's just something to like keep an eye on and maybe say to a client like this line tells me that sometimes like it can be aging, sometimes it can be part of like an underlying condition. So if you ever go to the doctor for anything, let me know and I'll leave one nail naked so you can show them. Or do you want to take a photo of it now so that if it comes up, you have a photo of it? Like, or do you want to keep them naked and get it checked out? But it's like, it's not a serious thing. You can, as long as there's no like cause or need to keep them naked, you can work on that client. I think I feel like I've seen it once, but I don't actually specifically remember it. So maybe I'm making that up, but it's definitely not something I see regularly.
Yeah, I've seen it once, and the client was diabetic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she actually more than I did. She was like, "Well, it's because of this and that."
Yeah. Like you just bring it up and
But then I think sometimes too, people can get, I don't know what the word is, but like hyper aware of it, especially if someone's coming from another salon and they've really overfiled their nails and they're really, really thin. It can also look really pink near the free edge where they've overfiled the crap out of it.
it does, but not as a line. Like Terry's nails are so much more like almost like you drew the line.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like it's not like drew it with a fine tip pen, but like a felt tip maybe. But definitely not the same as overfiling, although I can see why you might like second guess it kind of thing. And then another thing that I can't remember seeing, I probably have, but like yellow nail syndrome is something that we teach people to be aware of, but it's just like literally the biggest thing is in the name, like yellow in color, but they can be thickened nails, like curved nails. Sometimes they're growing a lot slower, but the main thing is like a distinct discoloration. And again, underlying health conditions. There's no specific treatment for it. It's just related to the underlying conditions. But as long as they have like they're aware of their situation and they don't need them naked for diagnosis, there's no like contagious or negatively affecting them reason not to do their nails.
I've seen this in myself, and I'm so glad I don't have it in my fingernails. But my toes are all yellow because I have like a rare lung condition, so it makes sense.
I love finding these things in the wild. Like one of my toenails has nail clubbing, which again, like I've seen it quite a few times, but it's literally just where a nail has like quite a distinct curvature to it, like a convex. Yes, because concave would be spoon nails. Convex is like an upside down spoon look to it. And my one toenail has clubbing because I broke it and did nothing about it. And nail clubbing can sometimes be related to like issues with circulation. And I'm pretty sure that's what mine was from, is like I know that I broke or fractured that toe and it was like the middle one and I just literally did nothing about it. It wasn't like a pinky or a big toe that was you were kicking all the time or like putting all your weight on. Did nothing about it, and then over time that nail started clubbing. And I've seen it quite a few times. Josh has a few fingernails that are clubbed just from like he's a truck driver, so like dropping shit on his hands or smashing them with chains and like stuff like but nail clubbing can be caused with like lung issues like what you're talking about, Mikkel, but also like heart conditions, liver conditions. Like there's quite a few health conditions that can impact and cause nail clubbing. So again, a thing to bring up and be like, are you aware of what's causing this? And if not, do you want me to leave your nails naked so that you can go and get checked out?
Yeah.
And if they already know, then you just deal with it. Like I'd just be like, I just broke that toe. Who cares? And then like on the flip side, literally, you can have the opposite, a spoon nail, which is a curved nail, but it's curving up, like as in you could hold a drop of water in it like a spoon. That one's koilonychia. And again, underlying health conditions, leave it naked if they need to go get it checked out. But if it's assessed and there's no cause that's an issue and there's no like splitting or pain or anything like that, you could do a gel polish application.
Yeah, I've never seen that, but I would love to see it. But
I've never seen it, but I would also love to see it.
I would love to see it. And I would probably love to put some water in the middle of it. But it's different than ski jump. Like ski jump is just the free edge. Like koinaniki is like
all the edges.
I just think it'd be so interesting to see.
It's like a bingo card of nail disorders.
Yeah.
I haven't ticked off koilonychia yet.
Yeah, neither.
The only other one that I really want to cover to make sure that like we've said, like these theory episodes are covering off like or complementing the actual theory training that we do. So bearing in mind that there's newbies listening to this, the only other one that I really want to make sure we cover is melanonychia, because there is always posts going around on Facebook about people that have a dark stripe on their nail and how they have to be careful because it is cancer. And it's just freaking not.
Could be, but probably not.
It has the same chance of being cancer as any of the other moles or freckles on your body, because that's what it is a discoloration the same way a mole on your skin is a discoloration. It just grows in a stripe because that's the direction your nail is growing in. But normally, if I see melanonychia, like, the number of times I've seen the post on Facebook, though, and it's just rage bait, scaremongering bullshit. But if I see melanonychia in real life, I just say, like, hey, just letting you know that this dark line on this nail is basically like a mole, the equivalent of a mole. So when you go to the GP for, like, skin checkups or if you get mole map done or anything like that, let me know in advance, like, if you have nails on so that I can take it off, so they can check that one at the same time. But unless it changes, you don't have to worry. It's not doing anything other than any of the other freckles on your skin or anything else.
Yeah, I have not ever seen that in real life.
I've seen it a few times. It's more common on people with naturally darker skin tones. And I've seen it like quite a few times on, like, I don't think I've ever seen it on someone like with European skin tone.
I have twice,
Yeah.
but they have lots of moles and freckles on them.
Yeah, I have quite a few moles on my arms, but I don't have any melanocchia lines, although that could change.
Yeah,
True. So it can appear.
yeah.
Yeah, because moles can appear like over time without them being bad. Okay, to wrap this one up, I'm gonna put Mikau back on the spot with a couple of bits and pieces that we have not covered because they're just little things. Um, okay, what? And I'm joking about Mikau. Anyone can answer this. What about? So we talked about yellow nail syndrome, but not all yellowy browny nails are from yellow nail syndrome. What are some other causes of yellow or brown staining?
Smoking.
Curry, like if you make too much curry. But also, I did just have like Pat came in for a manicure, and her nails were like some of them were stained yellow, and it was because of her soap. We figured it out.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah,
definitely like hair dyes and clothing dyes and food dyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then smoking, but obviously it's usually only like the first two fingers. No,
Yeah. And it can be like medication or like, I guess, a fungal infection and stuff. But yeah, mostly it's just a stain and it'll buff off. Okay, so just to wrap it up, what from you guys with different perspectives of newness, more experienced, and everything in between, what would be the thing that you would say to a new newbie who's somewhere on the scale of it won't happen to me all the way to I'm going to die from a bloodborne disease? What would be your number one recommendation for navigating the first like year of being a nail tech and getting used to what you may and may not see?
yeah, I remember when I first started, I had just some little cards written down with each of these disorders, the name of it, what it looked like, whether I could do their nails or not, and then what my like going forward would be. What if I could do it, what I had to do. If not, then what I would do. And I would always write, "You're not a doctor" on it. But it just meant if someone came in with, you know, little ice pin prick holes in their nails, I could look through my things and be like, ah, okay, this is it. And yes, I can do their nails. Mostly just to reassure me that it's okay to do these nails.
for me, I keep a record of like people's nail conditions on like a client consultation form. And so I can like track the state of their nails that way. But I think it's also like super important to change like and sanitize and disinfect your nail files in between clients. The biggest thing.
I'd probably say don't get too stressed about it. Like, know your conditions, but be aware that you're not going to see it on every client. It's going to be a rare occasion when you see a condition, and just make sure you know whether you can do the treatment on the client or whether they need to go to the doctors and get it seen to before you do a do a service on them.
That's sort of what I was gonna say. That last part is just like people stress because, okay, cool, we're teaching you this stuff and we want you to pass the assessment. So, yes, to pass the assessment, there's going to be an element of having to memorize some of the big words, and like it's no one's favorite part of the assessment. But at the end of the day, what we want to see by you passing the assessment is that you've spent enough time immersed in this information that you can ascertain if you can treat or not treat a client. Like, I don't give a crap if in a year's time you can spell Koilenikia. I don't care. What I care is that you can see a client walk in and go, I need to Google that. Like, if the one thing, like, okay, yes, to pass the assessment, there are a small number of questions where you will need to have memorized some shitty things to memorize. But if the main thing you do is make some flashcards with pictures of the disorders and the back of the flashcard is just yes, you can treat them or no, you can't, that's all I really care about, is that you can look and go, that doesn't feel right to me, or I am 100% safe to do these nails. And other than that, you just need to be able to Google stuff. Like, you need to be able to recognize it in the moment and then know what to Google to get the information that backs you up.
You know, like when you go to the dentist and then they have like those posters of all the like different teeth conditions. Don't do that in your salon.
Well, what a note to end on with that imagery. Imagine if that was your salon art. We used to have those posters up in when we had more in-person classes. We had posters of the disorder pictures up, and of course, like they were at the front of the class and the models were facing backwards, but there were still often comments from the models coming in to get their nails done, and we're like, "Well, it is a school."
Yep.
With that done and dusted, before you disappear, like our page or follow the podcast so that you don't miss the next episode. We'll be back next week, and I am not 100% sure on the topic. I think it's going to be around Facebook ads, but you might just have to tune in and be surprised. Until then, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching Monaco Nail Academy, or follow our salons. Mine is Hard Like a NZ.
Mine is Jungle Nails NZ.
Mine is Adorn Nail Boutique.
And mine is Crystal Blythe Nail Artist.
Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.